Love is a beautiful thing and marriage is honorable. However, marriage can get very complicated, and the love that was once sweet and affectionate can get toxic in the blink of an eye. When two people of different backgrounds, values, and even cultures get involved with each other romantically, it is usually the norm that they fall in love with each other based on certain things they like about themselves. However, it is important that both spouses get to know each other and talk things deeply concerning what they want in their relationship, and if they would be able to accept each other's values in that relationship. You must get to understand your spouse and know how compatible you two can get before saying the big yes to the marriage. Here are 5 important things to talk about before committing to that relationship or marriage. Number 1. Financial planning. Money and finances are very important components of the relationship or marriage. Without careful financial planning, the marriage is doomed from the very beginning. One important area you and your spouse should talk about is your financial capabilities and how much both of you are willing to bring to the table to take care of your many financial needs. You need to understand your spouse's spending culture, their taste in acquiring their basic needs, and their financial strength. You need to be able to plan financially for your unborn kids in areas such as their education, well-being, and basic needs. You must also be able to talk about both of you keeping a joint account or separate one as you see fit. There must be no secrecy when acquiring landed properties or having a secret financial account different from your spouse. If your spouse gets to know you have a secret account or secret assets that you fail to disclose to him or her, it would lead to distrust and eventually could destroy the relationship or marriage. You must know if you are comfortable with the spending habits of your spouse. He or she could be too extravagant or frugal in their spending habit, which might or might not agree with you. Money issues are one of the major problems of marriages today, and you and your spouse must talk things out to avoid issues when you eventually get married. It is also important to discuss issues such as how you both plan to invest in getting financial assets such as land, cars, and so on. Issues such as joint ownership of properties and who should be next of kin in the course of death to one or both spouses should be examined also. Number 2. Communication. Communication is key to having a successful relationship and eventual marriage. Communication helps you understand your different points of view and how both spouses see each other and handle their issues. Before committing to that relationship, it is important you and your spouse get to talk about how willing you are to communicate in the relationship and know the required skills needed to communicate with your spouse. It is also important you know how and when to communicate with them. Most times, everybody has different communication patterns and how they settle their issues in their relationship. Some just want to be left alone for a while others have a listening ear to relieve their heart of issues bothering them. The moment you know your partner tries to communicate with you, the easier it gets to communicate back and know how you both feel concerning issues in the relationship. This does not necessarily mean there would always be cooperation or that would both always agree on things. There are always going to be fights and arguments in the marriage because you and your spouse would sometimes have views concerning vital issues in the relationship. However, because you and your partner understand and are open to communicating with each other, you both would be able to reach a compromise on any issues that bring about disagreement in the marriage. Communicate about communication before saying the big yes to a relationship or marriage. Number 3. Personal and family history. One important thing to discuss with your spouse is your past and your family history. Not everyone is keen on sharing their past, especially if they had a traumatic past, depending on what area of their past they talk about. It is, however, important to be completely honest with your spouse in letting them know about your past and history. It helps you know each other's family origin. It goes a long way in determining if you or your spouse is comfortable with each other's past and how that past may affect the relationship. It is usually not important to let your partner know all the traumatic issues or all the bad you have done in your past or a past relationship. However, it is important to reveal vital information from your past, especially if it could affect the present relationship. Your past medical issues such as genetic diseases that you inherit from your family gene, your blood genotype, and your past sexual record of diseases you have had that may cause issues such as gardeners or delay in childbirth are vital information that should be shared with your spouse. You must let them know if you have been in a past relationship or if you have had abortions or have had a child. Nothing should be kept a secret from your future spouse, because sooner or later, if that spouse gets to find about such, it could lead to distrust from your partner towards you and could eventually break up the relationship or marriage. You must allow that spouse to love you for who you are without hiding anything vital from him or her. If they truly love you, they would stick with you despite your past. This is why getting to know your spouse's family history and background is very important before getting together in a serious relationship that can lead to marriage. Don't allow the euphoria of love and passion to make you neglect your spouse and vice versa. Number 4. Compatibility on core values. One thing you should never neglect in a relationship is how compatible you and your spouse are with each other. Compatibility is based on how you are both attuned to adapting to each other's lifestyle and ways without having any demoralizing effect on each other. Compatibility between both spouses helps them stay attuned with one another and helps them get the best in the relationship. The moment you and your spouse do not agree on most issues concerning your relationship, then it shows you're incompatible. Most times, most couples are blinded by love to spot the glaring fact that they're partners and they have compatibility issues, only to get into such a relationship and begin to regret it. Before settling for marriage, you and your partner must be compatible on most bases of life. It means you and your partner should be able to see things the way on a scale of 90%. Factors that show you are both compatible or not are a physical attraction to one another. You and your partner must share the same vision in parenting style, religion, and values. You must both be ready to share a common goal and do all that is possible to cooperate and achieve that goal. When you are compatible with your partner, then you would be able to trust and make sacrifices for them, knowing well that they would do the same for you too. Number 5. Fear of God. This is the most important thing to look out for and discuss with your potential husband or wife. They must have the fear of God in their heart. When you marry, you are to marry someone who not only compliments you, but also desires to see you grow spiritually. The Bible tells us in Matthew chapter 7 verse 16, "By their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from the thorn bushes or figs from thistles?" You must know the type of person you are in a relationship with. It is possible for your spouse to not love God, but pretends to. This is where you need the power of the Holy Spirit to help you discern right from wrong. Knowing who your partner is and his or her stand for God will determine the success and longevity of the union. This does not imply that there won't be challenges in a Christian relationship or marriage, but you can be rest assured because you both have the Spirit of God dwelling in your heart, and therefore you both will be able to settle your differences amicably. Your relationship with your spouse must be founded on God. It means your relationship must be founded on the solid foundation of the principles of God. There must be an approval from God concerning whom you want to marry. In conclusion, you must look out for various signs that show you and your partner are incompatible and sort of lingering issues rather than sweep them under the carpet, only to realize that you are not perfect for one another. Apart from discussing the do's and don'ts of you and your spouse, before starting a relationship or getting married, you should also make sure you seek the guidance of God concerning such issues. In case there are issues you find difficult for you and your spouse to agree on, they should be taken to God in prayer. God in His infinite mercy is ready to help and guide you and your spouse in making the right decision in your relationship and marriage.